Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Well, welcome everyone to our next episode in this Final Fantasy X walkthrough playthrough series. It's episode 57 we're on. We're just going to get going because, man, we got a lot to cover. a lot of bosses in this episode. So where we left off was we just got to the
Yeah.
Rin Travel Agency, the monopoly, of Lake Macalania. Here's a cool thing we forgot to actually mention, if you think it's cool. You can buy high potions now, yay! It's like, okay, who cares, man? We've got like 50 of them.
Yeah. At this point of the game, it's kind of too little too late. I mean, it's nice to be able to buy them, I guess,
Yeah.
but you can steal them really easily. They're very
Well,
common
and they're
to
just
get,
like in
so
chests right and left. People give them to you just like candy. It's
exactly.
potions in this. Actually, I will just real quick on that note. I will say potions in this Final Fantasy are really not that they're not effective, but they kind of just it sucks. I don't know. You get potions for the longest time, and those are worthless. And then you get high potions, and you get a lot of them, but it's like, dude, you never need them really. You know what I mean? Especially if you
Yeah.
got Yuna with magic and all that. It's like, eh.
The one thing I will say about them is they're fast. I think that's the main thing about using
True.
using
Yes.
items. Like it sort of like if you look at your turn order, using an item sometimes can be it's one of the fastest moves. I forget
Yeah.
exactly what rank, but basically that's how it works with all the attacks. They're like a different rank, and then that depends on how your ATB is going to be.
Yep, that is true. Good point. All right, well, if we continue on, we did everything here, so the only thing left to do is continue on the path to the left. Trommel shows up, and he's like, oh, Lady Yuna, whatever he says, but he's going to take Yuna to Seymour, essentially. She's like, all right, bye. He says it's Guado tradition for the party to wait here.
Yeah.
For what? I mean, we're not family or any what tradition is this? The tradition of
know,
a
man.
maester proposing to a summoner? I mean, what is he
Yeah.
talking about?
I'm assuming that's what it is, not just like a summoner and a guardian tradition.
I mean, I don't
know.
like.
That's a good
I want to
question,
go
though, because
pray at the temple. Can I go do that? No, it's tradition. It's like, okay, so
it's
if she wasn't
tradition,
getting
yeah.
married, I could go, but because she's getting married, I can't go. Okay, that makes sense, Trommel.
But that's a good question because, I'd never really thought of that. I wasn't sure if it was because of the wedding or if it's because she's a summoner and that's how
Yeah.
they do it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they always
But
escort them there or something, or I
yeah.
don't know. Well, regardless, they go ahead, they leave, and then, dude, here we go again, man. The Albed come on out. They're like, going after units. Like, they want her so badly. This is the third time.
Yep, of course, they show up on like the ski-doo things or whatever.
Yep.
And they're all surrounding her and Travel. And then this is really funny, right? Because like everybody sort of jumps down there, but the camera changes and now you have control of Titus. Of course, we can't just jump over the hill or down
No.
that steep grade or whatever. We got to run down the path all slowly.
Yes, I understand why they did that. They did that because first time playthrough, you wouldn't know this is a boss battle or something's going on, right? And so you may
Yeah,
not be
that's true.
prepared, and you see this, so you're like, oh, okay, something's happening. Let me go in menu. But it is really funny because everyone goes. And they're like, come on, Tyus, let's go, man. He's like, no, I gotta go walk around. They're like, come on, like Yuna's getting in trouble. He's like, no, I gotta go walk around. And so it is pretty funny like that. But we got a boss battle here. We got some dude up on the hill that's like Riku, or whatever. Everyone knows who he is if you know the
bad.
game. Hey, man, I've been practicing all day. No,
Yeah.
but dude, he gets like this big machine comes out and it's like showing off all its weapons, and you're like,
Yeah.
dang, like that thing's got some guns on it, man.
No, I love that part though because it has like the little it looks like it's got like missiles at the top or whatever, and then it
Yeah.
sort of opens it up. It shows off the Gatling gun.
It's got a Gatling gun. The whole thing's like a cannon. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
man. Okay, did they just
And
design this to steal summoners? Is this like their gosh, the amount of money and effort they're putting into this? Why don't they just design like sin killers, man? They're sitting here and doing all this.
Yeah, seriously, because I mean, this is the third one if you think about it that we fought.
Yeah.
But the other really funny thing about this scene is if like I don't know if your playthrough if you like compiled the alphabet or whatever,
Sure.
and you can understand what they're saying. It's really interesting. Like if say you do like a second playthrough and then you do the Albed sphere and you get the language and stuff to hear what they're saying, because he's basically just like, if you don't give up the summoner, you get this, and then it does the show off thing where it's showing off the
Yeah.
Gatling gun and whatnot. It's like,
like
oh crap.
it's like, dude, we don't understand what you're saying, man. Do you speak English at all? I mean, you're saying threats in a different language. We don't understand.
Yeah.
But
And then Riku's like, not good. He's gonna use an anti-magic field on us.
yeah, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we have that to work with, and we'll get to that in a minute, of course. And here's the thing: Yuna is not in this fight. I was thinking about this. She's she's right there. I mean, she is right there. We literally circled the wagons around her. Why is she not in this fight? Is it because Trommels is holding her hand? Oh, Lady Yuna, don't fight, please.
So. No violence.
No, yeah. Oh, I don't know, but regardless, she's not in the fight, so just you will have to rely on items.
Definitely going to be using those high potions. Yeah, he isn't too tough, right? I mean, so basically, as your standard Machina, weak to lightning. He is actually immune to all status effects, so that's something I always try is like dark attack and all that kind of stuff.
Kind of
not going to work
usual
on this guy.
given. Yeah, I usually always do the same too, but yeah, I can't. So no status effects. There's a few things about him. We'll just get to the negator first. You'll see it like it launches this kind of like just little floaty machine camera thing. I don't know. They're trying to take your picture, like cha-ching, cha-ching. I don't know what it is, but that is what is the whole like anti-magic field thing. So you would want to take that out first if you plan on using magic. I mean, you don't have to. You could easily just physical attack them down. I mean, that's of course there. But if you do want to use some magic, you will have to take out that little negator. It's up on the top. Only has like 1,000 health, so it's not that bad to take out.
Yeah, it's really, really helpful to have one of Waka's scout weapons with lightning strike, because I'm not sure if everybody can actually hit the negator. I don't know, but I mean, it's either
it is out of range. So yeah, you do have to have ranged.
Right. That's what I thought. So yeah, basically, if you haven't been training up Waka, it can be kind of annoying because if he's doing like 300 damage per hit, which I've been there on low level.
Yes. Yeah. So here was my thing. I had to use a couple of my lightning marbles, man, because I just got used on Kamari. So I was like, oh, thank God, because he was out of range, and Waka was doing like 120. So I was like, this is not gonna work.
That's the thing, and those lightning marbles actually are pretty darn good. They do like what 300 to 500 damage.
It was about 900 damage. So it was it was lucky because because it was either Kamari and Lulu. Those are my other two built up, and so I had to take it out. And so otherwise you got Waka. You can use Lancet if you really wanted to, but probably Waka's gonna be your best bet, or use some items. But once it is out, then you can just go for it. You can use magic, do whatever. Some of the other attacks he uses, he has Gatling gun, which is kind of similar to that Blitzball one, whatever that thing, Blitzrater or whatever it was, how it just kind of shot out a bunch of Blitzballs. It's kind of the same. It seems to be just like completely random, and it just hits a lot for just a little bit of a damage, but it can add up.
Yep, and the one that really is annoying is this assault move. It's sort of like a physical attack, and honestly, it seems like he does it almost every time as a counter when he gets damaged, it seems like, because he absolutely, that's the big problem. Even after you get the negator out and you're attacking him with Thundera, that's like 800 damage to Lulu. Like, it's crazy. So
she will probably not take 2 hits of it.
And if you picked up some light curtains at the Thunder Plains, this is a great time to be using those and things like that. Aside from those two, he doesn't do too much. He just basically does this. He'll start charging up for an attack, and it's 3 turns. Yep. And after those 3 turns, he's going to use Mana Beam, and Mana Beam does quite a bit of damage. I think it does like close to 1,000 damage or something like that.
And it hits
quite a bit.
Hits everyone too, right?
Yeah. I think so. So basically with this one, you've just got to try to do as much damage as you can, and then try to protect yourself with, Luna Curtains if you have them. Yeah. Make sure everybody's healed up. Maybe have Auron in there and use Sentinel or something like that.
Now, I did read that if you do enough damage, it stops the attack. I'm not so sure that's true or not, because I mean, and here's the thing too. This guy is actually kind of pretty easy mode if it just wants to always use that mana beam. I mean, really at that point, all you have to really worry about is assault, because if you use mana beam, he's not doing anything for 3 turns, you know. And then there's that. And then the other thing with this too is if you don't take out the negator and or it just launches one again, because it will, you know, he'll just launch more. He tries to use mana beam while the negator's out. It doesn't work. It's like even Waka's like, "Ha, stupid Macalania." You know, he says something like that.
That's interesting.
And so it actually negates the mana beam, and that happened to me as well. And so that is kind of nice. That sometimes maybe if you're like on, you know, 1 turn left or whatever, and maybe you're about to kill the negator, maybe just hold off onto the next turn, let it use mana beam, then take it out, and then just go full bore on him.
It's interesting.
So
I never seen that before.
Yeah, few little tidbits. It's so. Anyways, you'll probably handle him pretty easily. He's not that difficult of the boss. It's, I mean, honestly, assault, dude. That's like it, because, gosh, you just got to maybe use a high potion after every single attack, possibly. But, you know, it blows up. It literally just disappears. I mean, it blows, like, it just, poof, and it's like, whoa, okay, there's a giant metal object that blew up, and now there's nothing left. This dude is up there saying, Riku, Fred, you know, he's doing whatever, and then now Riku's actually talking back in Al bed, and she's like,
yeah.
You know, and if you've collected every primer up to this part, you can kind of fill in some words, but you still are missing most of it. But essentially, if you don't have the whole full, you know, alphabet converted, you can just basically get that Riku saying, like, I'm Yuna's guardian, and then here comes Waka, dude. I can't stand this guy this playthrough, man. The more I read into this, the more I'm like, Waka is so stupid, man. He is just dumb. How come you speak Al bed? Well, I think it's because she took 3 years at the University of Spirit, man. She was learning about Al bed studies and the history of Al bed. She freaking Al bed, man. Like, duh.
Yeah, and I like the way he goes. It's like, why? It's like, why do you think? I mean, I don't know. Maybe she's Al bed. Maybe.
Yeah, dude.
But basically, yeah, that's how it goes, right? And then she's like, because I'm Al bed. Doesn't she say that was her brother or something like that?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I literally just did this morning too.
Right.
Yeah, no, she's like, it's because I'm Al bed, duh, you know, and so here we go. I can't believe it, you know. Waka's just, oh man, his mind's blown. He's so angry at the fact that he's been traveling around the Al bed. You defy Yevon's teachings, you know, and then he's like, you know, that's what brought on sin. She's like, proof? You got proof? Show me proof, man.
Yeah, exactly. That part's really funny. I like the way he's like, I can't believe this is great. I've been traveling with an Albet, a heathen.
A heathen. Yeah, and you know, here comes Titus and Lulu though, man. Coming in, it's like Titus like, you got along fine now until didn't you? Yeah, I mean, you didn't know she was all bad, and you guys are best buds, and all of a sudden you know she's all bad, and now you hate her? I mean, come on, man.
And the interesting thing, too, is that, you know, at least from the perspective of where you are in the game, the difference between Lulu's reaction and his reaction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Lulu has ever shown that she's, like, not, I guess, like, you know, with the teachings and all that kind of stuff,
Sure.
and with the religion, like, she's kind of seemed to sort of go along with it, but she doesn't seem bothered by it at all. He's just, like, freaking out.
No, she says, thinking of it as an opportunity to learn more, you know? It's like, yeah, I mean, seriously, man, that is a good opportunity. Learn more about the people that you think you hate so much when you don't really know anything about them. And so, anyways, kind of a big plot hole, man. I mean, seriously. Okay, Trommel was just here saying that Squado tradition, you have to stay back. There was a threat, they neutralized it, and now everyone's just collective like, yeah, we're going. He just told you can't go. I mean, like, there was no conversation about, hey, we need to go protect Yuna or something. I mean, they got it. There was nothing like that. They're just like, yeah, okay, we're going on now. It's like, no, you have to stay at Rin's travel agency, man. It's Guado tradition. Come on.
Now that he's gone, they don't care.
Yeah, like, Charlotte's gone. Let's do it. Teacher's gone.
Yeah. This is a really interesting part, too, though, right? Because I guess this is kind of where, like, we talked about the affection ratings or points in this game with the different characters and stuff. And this is a pretty big scene that can change depending on your actions.
Oh, yes.
As far as, like, who you've had in your party, who you've preferentially talked to throughout the game.
Yeah, we got a few different. It's either Lulu, Riku, Orin, or Kamari. What's the one that you almost always get, man?
Lulu.
Yeah, it's always Lulu.
Almost every time, honestly. I don't know why.
I don't know how this happened. I actually got Riku in my playthrough, this one. I don't know how. I mean, like
You kind of have to go find her to talk to her. I
dude,
think that's
that's the
why I always
thing.
end
And
up with Lulu, because I talk to her first. She's always like right there.
dude, and I could have sworn I talked to Lulu at Guadasalami first and stuff. So
Yeah.
I really have no idea how the heck I got Riku, but I actually finally got Riku. And here's
Nice.
the thing: I did have to go back and I rewatched. I watched all of the different affection scenes. So great. And so we got a breakdown. So most likely you will get Lulu's, and she's just riding side saddle with Titus on his little ski-doo thing, and they're just kind of talking about Riku a little bit, how she's all bad, and stuff, and what she's like, she's interesting, or what, I don't know what she says. She says something like that.
She's fun to be with.
Yeah, fun to be with. There we go. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Titus asks about Sin, some more questions. He actually even asks, like, is it possible for Sin to become human? Lulu, of course, doesn't know because, that's just not info that she's going to be
But
privy
why?
to. Just wondering, or whatever. And it's kind of interesting because he does keep asking, and she remember, Lulu's been like the staunchest adversary to Titus, and he's not from Xanarkand. And now she's like, you truly are from a world that has no sin, huh? Because the questions he's asking and stuff, it's like, yeah, we don't think that way here. So that's kind of Lulu's. Now, if you got Riku's, I love this one, man. It's great. I watched it. I thought it was hysterical. And then I got it. I was like, oh, sweet. So she is also riding with Titus. And she, first thing, man, is she asks, like, do I look like Uni? It's like something like that. And he's like, because why is she asking that? Well, she knows that Titus likes Yuna. She clearly has a crush on Titus. And so, it's kind of one of those things. Here's the big thing, though, and I didn't know this, right? Because I've never seen this. She lets it slip that summoners sacrifice themselves. Now, we're not going to go into that right now because this is really all we know, and of course we don't want to spoil anything. But for those who have never seen this, she lets it slip that summoners sacrifice themselves. And he's like, what do you mean? No one's telling him anything, and so she's like, the pilgrimage, essentially, that's her sacrifice. And this, once again, Titus ignorant fashion, and it's not his fault, but in Titus ignorant fashion, he's like, well, she really wants to do this pilgrimage, blah, 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 stuff like that, so you really shouldn't say she's sacrificing herself.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I've ever seen a video of the Kamari discussion. But this is just hilarious. So basically, they talk about it. So all of the conversations are revolving around Riku.
Yeah,
That
what
seems to
just
be, like, the
happened,
common theme.
essentially.
Right. So it's basically like, so what do you think about her being Al bed? And then I just love this. Rodso follow Yevon, so they do not like Al bed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can just
it's-
imagine him saying that.
It's like, oh, okay, so you're like Waka, great.
Yeah. But basically, Kamari's a little bit better than Waka by saying that.
Well, that's what he's like, but not Kamari. Yeah, he basically just says, like, Riku she vowed to help Yuna, and he believes her, and he sees it, so he likes Riku. Dude, here's the one I love most, because I don't understand it. I really, really don't. If you get Oren's, you're actually kind of, so Kamari's the same. Obviously, they're not sharing a seat. They're just, like, driving together, side by side kind of a deal. So same with Oren. The first thing out of Titus's mouth, you're no fun to ride with at all. And he's like, I'll take Kamari over you any day. It's like, dude, what did Oren do to you, man? Like, he literally showed you a sphere of your dad. He relayed the fact that his dad did, in fact, love him and all this stuff. And he's that was a good moment. Now, all of a sudden, you're no fun to ride with at all. And it's like, okay, sourpuss. Like, goodness gracious.
What does Oren say?
He just kind of, does Oren, like, grunts, he's like, and then I think they talk about, like, how Titus is young, so make mistakes or something like that. I don't know. It's something similar like that, but I just, of course, focused on the fact that Titus is just really, really not happy. And here's actually, real quick, most hilarious thing of all of this is if you do have to ride with either Oren or Kamari, like right when they're getting on, like, do you know how to ride this thing? Better than Kamari does, and everyone's hopping on. If you have to ride with one of the guys and the girls team up, Titus just hangs his head. He's like, "Oh, like it's hysterical."
I was gonna say, yeah, because I always get that part at the beginning when it's almost always Kamari taking off first, and yeah, it's like better than Kamari does. But it's got to be hilarious to see like Riku and Lulu get on one.
Yep, and Titus is like, "Oh man."
And then also the other point too that was really funny. You're right, like on these scenes. I was kind of picturing our Arn and Titus sharing a scene.
Dude,
They're
I
like,
thought
no,
that
this
was gonna
separate.
happen. I was so looking forward to that. And it was like, ah, darn, they're riding
Oh
together.
man,
Yeah,
that would be hilarious. Cause yeah, it's funny when you think about it. You've got Lulu and Riku like right behind them. It's like, oh yeah, we
sure.
gotta have them sharing a seat.
Sure. One little bit, because I've just now remembered too with Riku is like she's really hugging Titus pretty hard at the end there, and he's like, huh? Riku? You know, like he's not picking up on the fact that she's like hugging him and trying to get close, you know,
Yeah.
because he's got tunnel vision on But anyways,
Yep.
once wherever the ride is, once you get to the end, you're just on foot. There's a chest right next to the doorway. Go ahead and pick it up. It's a mega potion. And then there's an Al bed right in the door. And if you talk to him, she's like something like, my game left me or something. And no one in our group's like, hey, wait a second, we just got attacked by Al bed. Your game left you. You are Al bed. Like, no one. It's like, okay, whatever. Yeah, we're fine. We kicked your butt. And we're like,
Yeah.
good game, kid. Good game. Lina is actually who it is. If you talk to her first, she'll give you 400 gil. Woohoo! But she is also a blitzball player. I will say, man, she starts at level 7, and holy cow, her stats are insane. Like, it's just 10 endurance, 8 attack, 8 pass, 12 block, 10 shoot. Like, everything is just really, really good. I mean, again, keep in mind, it's level 7. And so you could put her, wherever you want, honestly. She comes with Napshot 3, so you could easily put her at a forward. You might be able to get one shot in, maybe. But honestly, probably the best center in the game right now at these low levels. Unfortunately, that endurance does not grow at all. And so just because of that fact, she is really, really good for a very short time. I'm saying probably up to like level 15 max. And then at that point, it's going to be really hard to use her.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things with a lot of these, right? There's always this glaring weakness. That's a real shame.
It is a shame
Because
because, man, at 99, so endurance doesn't grow. Everything else does. Everything else is really good. She gets 92 shoot, 61 block, 99 pass, 60 attack. So she would be perfect as a center. She'd be perfect as a forward. She'd be perfect as a defender. And then, oh no, 27 endurance. 27. Oh, dude, that's
yeah.
too low. I can't deal with that. That's too low.
But I mean the other thing is like honestly, with her beginning stats, she'd also make a really good defender.
Yeah. Seriously, I mean, 8 attack, 12 block.
Really
Heck
good
yeah.
attack, yeah.
Yeah. The only kind of side notes too is her speed is 59, so it's a whopping 1 slower than the average, and then she does get 9,999 HP. So all I'm saying is, I mean, you could easily still use her in all those positions, and she will excel in anything. But I mean, you're not gonna be able to break through anyone. I mean, 27, like even Badu and Jasu would be able to smack her down, easily. So
Yeah.
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 But regardless, she is there if you want.
Yeah, and then basically, as you continue running on, this is one of the coolest entrances to any of the temples, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about Jose Temple as being pretty cool, which it was, but Macalania Temple, I think, has got to be my favorite. You're kind of walking or you're running along this ice bridge just up in the middle of the air,
Yeah.
hundreds of feet up, and then the whole temple itself is just sort of encased in ice, like floating.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I just love the way the camera angle changes too as you're running around.
It's just a long path that kind of just like curves around to it. It is awesome. It is really cool looking. And so if you head on inside, Trommel is right there. If you talk to him, he's just like, hey, what's up, guys? And it's like, okay, so no Guado tradition, man. Hey, you just told us to stay away and we're here right now and you're just cool with it.
Yeah.
But, regardless, he gives you a shell targe, which, woohoo,
Terrible.
SOS shell, great.
Yeah, that's all it has too. It's a one slot with SOS shell. But I like the way he says, he's like, it isn't much, but I want you to have this.
It's like,
And it's
no,
like, oh, okay. Well,
you ain't wrong. It isn't much, man. Thanks. I'm like, wow. So
could have given that to us before,
yeah, right.
but
It's like,
yeah,
oh.
sure.
Yeah, well, guess who
Man,
else is here,
yeah.
man?
Your
Freaking
favorite
Shalinda.
acolyte.
Why wouldn't she be here? It's like, holy cow, chick, leave us alone. But it is pretty funny because in
lowly
Thunder Plains,
acolyte.
if you told her, like, no way, to like when she asks if Yuna and Seymour are getting married, and she's like, oh, right here, she's like, it's not funny, or something. I don't know. She gets all prissy about, like, dude, it's like, hey, yeah, you believe me.
She's like, it's not nice to lie.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's not nice to follow us around all the time. lecturing all the
Yeah,
time. Yeah, stupid acolyte.
lowly acolyte, get out of here.
Yeah, no one wants you.
There are some really good chests in this place, right? So, I mean, first of all, you got a really cool interior in here as well with like the ice theme and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you look around, there's like these little kind of dead end paths, just sort of like spokes of a wheel almost. And you've got 5,000 gil in one, which is crazy. And then you got X potion times 2 in another, which is also really good.
Yeah.
And then you also got those weird little musician creature things that
Yeah.
we've seen all throughout, like Luca and also Macalania Woods, right?
Yeah, and there's actually multiple sets of them now. And so, in the main room, there's like
It's
the
so
the
weird.
three, and they're there. Pretty funny, man. If you talk to the drummer, and you remember way back in Luca, we talked about it. I was guessing that it was like a frog person thing. I think it is, because if you talk to it, it's like, this place is damp and cold like my home or something like that. And you're like, oh, so you are just a frog. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And
But the weirdest thing is he's a Scottish frog.
he's a Scottish guy.
You know?
Well, so in one of the rooms, there's also more of them. You're like, whoa, hold on a second. Did you guys just teleport? And you talk to him and it's like, that's my cousin out there. And it's like, okay, wow, all right. You guys look identical, by the way. So we're just gonna throw that out there. But cool, we're just playing music everywhere we go. But in the two chests, so we always have the two rooms. Now at this point, someone will come out and she's like, oh, Jiskel, Lord Jiskel, a sphere in Yuna's belongings. And you're like, okay, cool. You don't have to go straight in there, but in both of these rooms, there are some chests that contain 2 remedies, 3 Phoenix Downs, and then if you just talk to the various people in them, you'll get a couple of high potions, an ether, and an elixir. So you'll definitely want to visit both of those. In the left room, there's also a dude. He's like sitting on the ground. I think it's like kind of an old timer. And this is actually interesting. You have a few options here. You can learn about Seymour. You can ask about like his childhood, early adolescence. I think it's like a summoner, and then as maester. It's something like that. It's like 4 stages in his life, and so you can go through the whole thing, and you actually kind of learn that Seymour was like a really hard worker. He didn't just like ride on the success of his father. He actually made a name for himself instead. He worked hard. He rose through the ranks on his own and all that. And so it's like, okay, well, I mean, so clearly the dude is like, he's intelligent. He knows what he's doing, right? He has goals. He goes after it and all that stuff. So kind of
I thought it
interesting.
was, yeah, definitely. I thought it was really interesting when you talk to him or ask him about Seymour as a summoner. He talks about how powerful Seymour is and how he could have probably defeated Sin and become like that's what he actually was trying to do was trying to be a high summoner and follow the summoner's path, but eventually ended up taking the maester path instead and sort of tried to form a bridge between humans and Guado.
Yeah.
And that was more his thing. But I just thought that was kind of interesting because it kind of also explains why he has a summon like anima.
Yeah, why he's able to summon.
And then also the part about his adolescence. So you learn that he had a really, really tough time basically not fitting in. He was kind of ostracized, the classic sort of like outcast
You're weird looking
person. Yeah, so he had a hard time because he's part human, part Guado.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little bit twisted,
mixed
I guess.
blood. Yeah, he's a muggle. No, I don't know, but had a tough time as a kid, absolutely. And so if you do go ahead and you go into the room that you were supposed to, which you may have already been in if you got the treasures, but regardless, you got the sphere of Jiskel. So we know that Yuna had the sphere. She said it said to take care of his son. Well, no, we actually learned it's much worse than that. He basically just says like Seymour has an incredible lust for power. He is gonna die soon by Seymour's hand, like he had a tough time, and stuff, but that's really changed him, and now he needs to be stopped, is what Jiskel's saying. Like, you gotta kill my son. Like, you gotta stop him, otherwise he's just gonna destroy everything, and it's just a lust for power.
Exactly. And then basically, it's like, all right, we gotta go do something. And Walker's just like, wait, where are you going? It's like, well, you heard it, didn't you? Seymour's bad news.
Yeah, but he's a maester. Okay, so we just say, all right, fine, you get a pass, man. You committed murder and took up the mantle of your father. Yeah, but you're a maester. We can't do anything to you. Come on, Waka, like, goodness gracious, man. Get your head in the game here. Like, you can't just let injustice go, especially if you're in it.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, we gotta call out Yuna on this. That was definitely not okay what she did. Like, this was huge. This is big news, man. The murder of a maester, the same person that's trying to marry you, and you don't tell your guardians? I don't care what kind of plan you have cooked up. You are a moron if you didn't share that info. I mean, like, we just wasted all of this time. We stopped and talked about it to a full extent. We were going through it. People are making up their minds. People are getting emotionally involved with this when all of that should have never even happened to begin with. Get off my soapbox.
Exactly. I mean, it's that whole thing that Oren said, you know, she's, I don't know, she just wants
Hard-headed
to
or
deal with
something.
it herself. She's hard-headed to a fault and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Basically, you just head off, you take out of that room, and then the guy that was guarding the cloister of trials is like pushed aside. And if you go talk to him, that Ronso, he.
Awaka is also in this room in the main. You probably saw him before. Actually, I think maybe he just comes in right now. But he does just have like the exact same items as he did at Lake Macalania. So time to go confront Seymour. So everyone's already gone. You know, Titus is always the last one somehow. I don't know. You go all the way into like basically I guess the Chamber of Faith area, the cloister rather and stuff. And so Seymour is like, please, Lady Una prays, or he's like something like that.
Yeah, no, pretty much it's like, please be silent. The Lady Yuna prays to the faith.
Make me. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad could beat up your dad. I mean, like, good one there, Titus.
This is
good
like,
one.
no, but in all seriousness, yeah, this is like where Titus is. He's been holding this in forever. He can't wait to provoke Seymour and fight him, right? He's just letting it go. This is so funny.
Well, and
Yeah,
Yuna comes out too, and she's like, but
Right.
why? And it's like, what do you mean, but why, okay? Like, you gotta,
Yeah.
we're about to fight you too, chick. Get in line with your new husband there, all right? We're gonna fight both of you. You're in cahoots with
Yeah.
him now.
What was she thinking of doing? Like fighting him by herself?
Yeah, so essentially that's what you learn, right? Is Seymour's like, well, why'd you come here then? And she's like, I came to stop you. And he's like, what in the world would you have done? I mean,
Yeah.
gosh, but that's
Her
what
attacks do like 30 damage. Come on.
I know, right? I mean, you know, and the other thing too is, you know, she backs out and all the guardians, and he's like, oh, right, you know, summoner and a guard. Like, what is it? Defeat the summoner, even at the cost of your own life. Summoners
Yeah.
or the guardian's code.
This is like one of the classic, dude. Seymour has so many good bad guidelines in this. And it's just where he goes, very well. If you're offering up your lives, then I will have to take them.
I don't know, it's like,
It's classic.
geez, man, are we not going to talk this out at all? I mean, gosh,
Yeah, that
it's
was
just like,
quick. He's like, he's about ready to kill us now.
because yeah, we weren't
okay.
ready to like, we came to stop you. That doesn't mean kill you, Seymour, but in his mind, it's like, all right, well, no, I'm gonna wipe you out then, you know, like, goodness, all right, well, now we have no choice, and so here you go, you know, we get into a battle. You will notice 3 characters have little trigger commands, and it's talk, and if you go ahead and use it, Yuna's, it's like, I don't know, he's like, your eyes are burning with resolve. Beautiful or something. And if you will maybe want to do these, I mean, it's a turn. So if you want to do the turn, that's okay. But they do give boosts. So Yuna's, that will give the defense increase, or magic
Yeah, and
defense
it's-
increase rather.
Yeah, it's actually quite a bit too. I didn't realize back in the day how much it was, but I believe it's like plus 10.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
it's a serious, yeah, especially I would definitely say like Titus's, absolutely, because he gets a strength boost. And his is also hilarious. It was like, I knew you were bad news the very first time I saw you. And then Seymour's just like, oh, my apologies.
My apologies.
Seymour.
Seymour. Yeah, he's
And then
like,
it's
oh,
like strength plus.
he could have had a better line than that. My apologies. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I know he was kind of like, oh, so sorry you didn't like me.
Yeah,
I
it was
know that,
something-
but it was still kind of like, come on, you could have given something.
It was like my sincerest apologies,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, that was
And then
it,
of
yeah.
course, poor Waka over here, you know, he's just like, Mister, we must stop this.
Yeah,
and
it's
Seymour just straight up ignores
It's
him, dude.
dot dot
Poor
dot
Waka.
dot 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 dot. It, you know, I put down here, it's like, dude, Seymour was just blown away. He was like, dang, that guy does know how to talk. You know, he was like, I don't know what to say to him. He's like, wow.
Last time we talked was Mushroom Rock.
So
Yeah.
Matt, Waka's magic defense will increase from that as well. So those are kind of
But
just the
his
things
sucks
about that.
anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's like it'll be like 15, so
yeah, it raises from 1 to 2. So there you go. But the thing about this battle, and it's gonna kind of come again here in a little bit, but he has a couple of Guado dudes with him, and so they will move in front of Seymour if you try to attack him physically. But the main thing with them though is they have auto potion on for high potion, and so as soon as you do anything to them, they're gonna use auto potion, and it's gonna heal for 1,000. So if you're not able to do more than 1,000 damage to them, don't attack them, kind of a deal. You know what I mean? Save it for someone who is able
it's
to actually take them out.
yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? I mean, this is actually like, I guess this is the first, well, not guess, this is definitely the first like serious boss battle in the game. I mean, Seymour has 6,000 HP.
Yeah,
I think these guys have somewhere around
2,000.
like 12. Yeah, it's just 2,000, so it's a lot. And like you said, they have innate guard, so basically every time you try to attack them, they'll do that auto potion. They're also really annoying. They use things like confuse quite a bit. I think it's their like Shremedy move or whatever the heck that is,
Right. Yeah.
which is really cheap. It's just it basically is 100% confused. So they're gonna annoy you with that. Yeah, they're just overall annoying. But I guess the easy thing that you can do, and I didn't know this back in the day, was that if you steal from them, you get a high potion, and then apparently that was the only high potion they had. So
I mean, were they like taking little sips out of it?
yeah,
I
I
mean,
never
like,
get that either.
yeah, you still
Because then,
one potion. I mean, they'll auto potion infinitely, but if you still
right,
one from them, like,
if you
dang,
steal
that was
one,
my
that's it.
potion, man. I can't do it.
They're sipping it
Yeah. Ooh,
for
good
real.
stuff. All right. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that is an easy way to basically just negate that auto potion. Then you can easily take them out. And
yeah.
honestly, with Seymour, 6,000 health isn't so bad, but it's Seymour. And so he's using tier 2 magics, and I mean, they hit pretty hard. I think it's something like 1,300 damage.
The main thing, and you put it down here with the null abilities, and the nice thing about it is too, he goes in a pattern. And I'm trying to recall exactly what it is,
Okay.
but I believe it's something along the lines of he goes in a definitive pattern every single time with his elements. So it's like water, ice, fire, lightning,
Something
Probably
like
not
that.
in that
Yeah.
order, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So once you get the order down, and I think you can even get it if you scan him, then you just have to be able to cast the null ability at the right time, and you're pretty much safe.
Yeah. And I think it's something around maybe half health. Maybe half health, a little bit lower than that. He'll actually pause, and now he'll summon Anima. And so that is, well, now things get a little serious because Anima has 18,000 health. And well, you got a lot of different options you can go here. First off, if you steal from Anima, you can get a silence grenade, or for the rare steal would be a far plane shadow. So maybe if you want to do that first before you summon a new Aeon. But honestly, the probably easiest way, and I mean like it's easy, is to just summon the new Aeon you got, which right now, if you go into the list on Yuna, it's just like question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Like, it's like, oh, I don't know who this is. And so
Yeah.
if you go ahead and summon it, though, you'll quickly find, like, oh, okay, it's Shiva. I mean, there's no other Aeon that looks like this in the Final Fantasy series. Dude, honestly, I'm telling you, man, like, I don't know about you, but anytime I do actually just go ahead and summon Shiva rather than trying to fight them with my characters, it's just, I have no problem with Anima. It is so easy to kill it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But Shiva has Blizzara, and that's the main thing, right? So it does, like, especially if Anima uses boost, which it does. And I wouldn't worry about its overdrive meter too badly. It takes forever to charge. And if you use Blizzara when he's using charge, it actually does like 3,300 damage. I mean, so that's 6 attacks.
Yeah.
That's it. It normally does about 22. And then not only that, but he'll use pain every once in a while. I think Shiva has something like 1,700, 1,800 health. She can survive 2 pains. It'd be very close, but she can survive 2 pains. But dude, you just cast Blizzara on yourself and it heals for 1,800. So I mean, like, if you get pained once, heal yourself. And then as soon as you get Diamond Dust, it does quad 9 damage. So, I mean, it's really easy to take out Anima, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, if you're doing what you should be doing, which basically the game points you in that direction anyways, because as soon as you get into the battle, Titus goes, Yuna, the new Aeon!
Yeah, it
So it
does.
basically tells you, because if you don't, it's gonna suck. Pain causes instant death, and
Yeah.
there's no way at this point in the game that you can have any resistance to death whatsoever. So basically, you're just going to be constantly getting killed. And when he does get an overdrive, you're going to have to do some tricks. Like you're going to need a stamina tablet to double, say, Auron's HP and really buff up and things like that. With
Yeah.
an Aeon, even if he does get his overdrive, it's not gonna matter. Just use guard, and it'll do like 300 damage.
Yeah.
So it's
Or
pretty
even if
easy
it
if you
even
yeah.
even if it kills the Aeon, I mean that's okay because I mean the overdrive takes so long to charge. It's not going to charge twice. You're
It
gonna have to kill Anima before it charges twice.
and
So
honestly, it's really disappointing. It hardly does any damage at
I
all.
know.
It's
Well,
kind of sad. So
and I mean we saw it in at Luca, and it was like, dang, that thing's awesome and stuff. And now we're again, it's like, yeah, well, he kind of took it out. But and like you said, the game really does direct you to Shiva because even if you do use Shiva to kill Anima, which makes no sense, Seymour's like, the power, it will be mine. Dude, isn't he a summoner? Isn't this his temple? How does he not have Shiva? He literally never
know.
prayed to this faith? Like, this is your temple, man. They said that this is your temple.
he's got like one of the best Aeons, but he doesn't have
He
Shiva.
doesn't have Shiva. And Anima is way better than Shiva. We'll just go ahead and say that. It's so, whatever. But
Yeah, at this point, he starts using like multi spells as well. So
Yes.
he'll continue after he's done with that. You need to get rid of Shiva, dismiss whatever Aeon, because if you don't, he's gonna actually use like Fire Aga, Blizzaga,
Well.
like level 3. He's gonna kill her.
Yeah, well,
Um,
unless he goes ahead like he did for mine, he used Thundara, and then he did Blizzara. So I was like, thanks, man.
Really?
Because, well, it was,
That's
or rather,
weird.
no, he used
Okay.
Blizzara than Thundara. But regardless, like, he healed her to full and then attacked and it didn't kill Shiva. I actually just dismissed. I'm like, this is going to be easier just to,
Interesting.
take
I
him
mean-
out. But I was like, dude, you just healed Shiva, man. Great job.
No, yeah. No, I know what you mean because I have had it where just by chance he started off with like Blizzaga and he just fully heals her
Yeah.
for like 3,000 hit points. But if he uses like Fire Aga on her,
Yeah,
it's pretty much
that's
it
it.
does like 3,000 damage. It's crazy. But his magic is also really strong. This is where like you've just got to kill him real quick because his multi spells they start doing like 1,500, 1,600 damage,
Yeah.
2 of them at a time.
2 at a time, yeah. Yeah, and when he does return, he's back to full health, so he's back up to 6,000. So you'll just need to do that damage again. And once you do that, though, you will get some rewards, a couple of cool things. If you get overkill, you'll get some black magic spheres. You get 2 of them. And that's kind of cool. I mean, because if you, especially like, we've talked about before how I've gotten like teleport spheres and other things from Blitzball. At this moment, if you get these black magic sphere or spheres if you overkill, like this is a great opportunity now for Yuna to learn maybe a spell or 2 or something, and to make her a little bit more useful in battle because, just by traditional means of leveling in Sphere Grid, she's not learning any, offensive magic at all.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's a huge prize, and on top of that, you can also kind of like make a save before this and reset until you get what you want because he can draw really, really good items or equipment, and it's either silence strike or silence proof. So that can be really nice. I remember I got like a
Mage
razzmatazz,
Hunter.
I think for yeah, you get those types of things. Like if it's an attacking character, silence strike is really sweet. Or I've also had really good luck, maybe sometimes getting like an echo bangle that has silence proof on it for Lulu and things like that. So
Nice. Yeah.
pretty cool.
So there you go. You killed Seymour. He's dead. He's dead. He literally does die, and you're like, okay. Everyone's like, we just killed a maester. This isn't very good. And well, yeah, you guys literally just made yourself enemies of the church and pretty much all spirits, since everyone is like believes in Yevon and stuff. So here comes Trommel though, and he's like, oh, and all that stuff. But here's the thing, man. Orin's like, Yuna sent him, kind of a deal. Like, we killed him, get rid of him, like, poof, done. That would have been it. That would have been the game, essentially. Yeah. But no, Trommel's like, stop, or whatever. Why are we suddenly, like, letting Trommel boss us around? It's like we stopped Seymour, and then we just let Trommel carry his dead body out, like, no problem. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
it'd be like, you're next, butler, if you give us any trouble. I mean, like, come on, guys.
Yeah, this whole scene is like you've got Waka and all of a sudden, what have I done? And then basically Titus is just like, hold on a second. Seymour's the bad guy here. He struck first. It's like, dude, you guys are horrible. Like, you'd make some horrible, lawyers or something
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
Why don't you just say that he fell over, he passed out?
Yeah,
or
be like, I don't
something?
know. He started drinking heavily. He took Orin's jug. He chugged the whole thing in one gulp. We told him not to, and then he just passed out.
Yeah, they basically just admitted, and that was the thing that always bugged me about this scene is they all just admit that they did it, and that's when Trumbull's like, "You did this," and stay
You're like,
away
no,
from
we
him
didn't
and
do
all
that.
that kind of stuff.
I mean,
Yeah, so
exactly. Well,
basically, it's time to get out of here, right?
yes, it is. They're like, we should go. And it's like, yeah, we should. But you're probably wondering up to this point, like, well, but we didn't do the cloister. Well, you actually do it on the way out this time. So, you
Yeah,
try
it
to go back
tricks ya.
across the ice little bridge, and it starts, I guess it's the wah, 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 alarms are going off. I don't know why it just disappears now all of a sudden. But
Don't you hate that though?
yeah,
I
it's
mean, you think that you're about to get out, you think that you've escaped, and you don't have to do the cloister trials, and then it's just like, nope, it does it at the very last one too. I hate
Yep,
that.
it lets you go all the way across. So Titus has to do some parkour to get back. And again, kind of like the last one, Doze, moving forward, this one's not too bad. Essentially, you just gotta, put the spheres back into the pillars to rebuild the bridge. And, once you go all the way through and you do that and you get the destruction sphere, you'll actually get a Lux sphere from that. So that's really awesome. You can now leave, and so they're just kind of back in the temple area. And, Trommel's like, nah, you ain't leaving, guys, and they're like, but the sphere. And Trommel's like, this sphere? And then he busts it up. Dude, you just tampered with evidence, man. What are you doing? That's a federal crime. Like, holy cow. And also,
Although you say busted up, it's like he smashes it in his hand. It just disappears into like a million little crystals.
and you're like, he's like, the Guado take care of Guado problems. It's like, oh, I've heard that a million times before. Well, clearly you didn't, because your leader there killed his father, and you guys, is that how the Guado handled? That's how the Guado handle it. Okay, so does that make us? Does that make us now the new maesters? We took out the previous leader. Is this like the primal kingdom here?
I know, and I love this part too because it sort of zooms in on his face and he's looking real evil all of a sudden. It's like Trumbull was always kind of a sketchy character, I
Yes.
guess, but now it's like straight up,
He knew.
it's hard to like him.
He knew what was going on. I mean, come on, he was the help. He was there all the time, so he knew exactly what was going on. And so, he's just basically protecting Seymour. And they're like, you're not leaving, but Orin goes ahead and just pushes someone down. It's like, let's get out of here, and runs. And so you get out, and naturally, Final Fantasy style, it's like, we gotta run. Oh, but there's a shop.
Yeah.
Hello, Wawaka. How you doing? All right. And all the Guado are like, no, guys, take your time. Don't worry about it. We'll chase you in a moment. Get your items, and then we'll chase you, okay? And so,
Yeah.
you do that. And it's funny because, you can't do this right now, and we don't even have the airship yet, so we're not going to really talk about it. But Awaka, dude, he beams out of there. He's like, I'm out.
Yeah, he uses the safe sphere. You
He
can see
does.
him disappearing once you go on. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And I mean, like you said, so you basically have like an infinite amount of time before you move on to save, to do your menu work, all of that kind of stuff, do your shopping and whatnot.
Yep.
Once you go past that save point and on the ice bridge, he beams away, like you said, teleports up, and then the doors open, and all of a sudden, all of these little Guado henchmen start coming out, and they're fast, man. And then the
Dude,
really
they're so
annoying thing about
fast.
this is they're really fast, and Titus is just like doing his normal jog, like yep. I don't
like,
run any faster.
Wow,
than
man,
this.
you got one speed, huh? One speed. All right. Yep.
He's just casually jogging while they're like catching
Yeah.
up to him. He's like, "I can't run
Romantic
any
walk on the
faster."
beach with Yuna, one speed. Running for your life, one speed. He's like, don't push
Yeah.
me. I go the jog. This is how I learned how to run.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, it's funny
If
because,
you
like you
do-
said, Guado are super fast.
Yeah, you'll get caught by at least one. It's not a big deal. It's just an annoying battle where basically you'll be fighting one of those guys. Same thing as before. They've got the auto potion. They got all the
Yeah.
same abilities as the Seymour fight. But they spawn two random monsters or whatever. So it'll
Yeah.
be like the floaty ball type thing, or a wolf, a flan, the
The armored
whatever the heck the
guys.
shells.
Yeah.
Yeah, the armored guys. All of those kinds of things. Anyways, just annoying little battles.
Yeah, apparently Guado are Beastmasters, I guess. I mean,
They're
that's
like
all
summoners,
right.
seriously.
Yeah, so they just do that. And these ones do have 1,200 health, so they're not quite as strong as, like, Seymour's personal bodyguards, I guess. And you will definitely have to fight at least one. You'll think you're making it. You're like, oh, right there. Nope, you are going to get caught. But this also isn't a bad spot if you were just wanting some extra experience, because they're pretty easy fights, and they actually give quite a bit of experience. So you could just sit there and keep fighting them. But if you will go ahead and move forward, what happened to our jet skis, man, or our ski-doos? Like, we have to walk all the way back? What the heck, man? What do we do with these things? Did we, like, just drive them and then, like, like just tossed them into the chasm, like, oh well, we're done with these guys. Wipe our hands clean. I mean, we gotta hoof it all the way back.
Yeah, they put him into neutral and pushed him over the edge or something.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, I don't know, but I mean that's a good point because now you, like you said, you've got to go all the way back, get in a whole bunch of random encounters. It's the
Yes.
same kind of enemies. It's the snow wolf, the snow flan, the
Evil, the
floaty ball, blah
eyes,
blah
and
blah.
yeah.
There's a chest with a level 1 key sphere along the way. It's sort of like on the
It's on the
I
right
don't know,
side.
on the right-hand side. Yeah, the right-hand side of the chasm. It'll be like a little pathway over there you'll see on the mini map.
And so you'll get back to kind of the lake area, and then here we go. We got some more of the Guado guys, and they're bringing this big old Yeti guy, and you're like, oh boy, okay. And so here, another boss fight, and it is a Wendigo. And so kind of the same thing with like Seymour, only these guys are even more intense because they cast haste and berserk on the Wendigo first thing, and it's like great, because he will start one-shotting people easily, and it's like, oh my gosh. The thing about this is they won't actually protect the Wendigo from physical attacks, kind of like they did Seymour. So, you can do stuff like that. I don't know, man. I mean, you kind of have two ways here. I've always killed the Guado. I was kind of reading something where they're like, well, you could maybe not kill them and blah, but I mean, I've always done it. And the thing with them too is they will use auto potion on the Wendigo, so you don't really want them healing it for 1,000. If you do kill them, one will cast protect on the Wendigo at death, and the other will do shell at Wendigo at death. I think that is more than worth it. Also, I have to ask you, man, if you remove Berserk from the Wendigo, do they recast it? Do you have an idea?
They do.
Okay.
They do.
Yeah, so
It's
that's
annoying,
another
so
reason why you'd want to kill him. If you take him out and then if you use a remedy on the Wendigo, no more Berserk. And that is way helpful.
yeah, you can also cast a spell on him if you have it at this point. It's kind of far along in the sphere grid, so probably not. But if you wanted to get rid of
Sure.
shell, protect, haste, and all that kind of stuff, really, this guy is a huge pushover simply for the fact that he's so susceptible to a ton of really big time status effects. So, you can basically just dark buster him. You can use slow on him. You can use sleep on him as well. Basically, it's just there's a lot of different ways to deal with him.
Or if you're like me and you don't have any of those, you just have to power through it. And the main thing with him is at some point and just periodically he'll put up his dukes. Ugh. Just don't attack him physically. I mean, if he's dark, you're fine. I mean, that's okay. But, if you don't have darkness on him, he will counter and he will absolutely kill you. I mean, it's just punch.
Yeah, even if he has Dark, you could still land it every once in a while. I think on my last time, I kind of was messing around with Jinx and Luck abilities just to see if that made any difference. And
Gotcha.
because every once in a while he'll still land one, and it's like especially on some of the characters that have like no evasion, like
Dude,
Wonka, for example,
yeah.
he'll land a hit that'll get 2,700 damage. It's
Yeah,
like,
and it's like,
come on,
whoa,
man.
holy cow. Yeah, he
Yeah,
will one-shot people.
that's what he's going to be hitting for. So yeah.
But like you said, yeah, he is pretty much a pushover, especially if you use darkness. I mean, most of it. And the Dukes is so easily avoidable if you're really worried about it by just not attacking him and just continue magic. But when you kill him, and then after that it goes to like a scene, and apparently he's still, he gets back up and he does like some ground slam, oh yeah, and it just great. He cracks the ice. So thanks, man. So you all fall down. Dude, I don't understand this whatsoever. Was this not a lake? Why are we falling like down like, I don't know, half a mile? And not only that, okay, so the water was frozen on the top. We fall down. So you're like, okay, well, it's Final Fantasy X, it's water, water's weird in this game.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so we're under the water. Well, no, because then when you're on the ground, you're standing in water. So is there water on top of water, and then there's water in the water, and then there's water that's freezing on the top? It makes no sense. I don't understand this.
I know what you mean because they're like, we're under the lake ice. It's like, how is it a lake?
Yeah, it's ice, and we're under the lake? Yeah, like,
It's more
okay.
like, honestly, it's more like a glacier, to be honest.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like how it's kind of like hollow, so it's a chasm. And when you go under the lake ice, there's nothing. There's literally like just this giant open space, and then you got the
Dude,
temple. It's like,
yeah.
how the heck was that? Yeah, it's confusing.
It's very
But
confusing, but now you're at the area called the Lake Bottom, and so everyone's just kind of waking up. Everyone survived that fall. Okay, right, and but everyone survived, and you just kind of have to go around talking to everyone. So they give various things. Waka's just like, "What have we done again? This can't be happening. I can't believe I defied Yevon and all these things." Kamari. I don't remember what Kamari says, but Lulu is. Well, I don't remember Lulu either. I didn't write this down. I know
well,
what
I mean,
Riku
so
says.
basically, yeah, this is like a lot of conversation. That's why we're all kind of, there's a lot of things that were said. I mean, I think when you go talk to Lulu, you get conversation about the hymn of the faith,
Well, so
right?
that's the second.
There's
There's kind of two parts in this, right? Everyone talks, and then it goes to and then you got to go talk to
we're all
everyone
off.
again. Yeah, no,
Yeah, we're all off on
it
this. It's very
it's nuts.
confusing. There's a lot of
I
talks.
know what Riku says though. So if you go,
Yes,
you'll see
let's
a
just talk
treasure
about that.
chest behind Kamari. Don't worry about that. And one behind Riku. You can't get them yet. But if you go and you talk to Riku, she's kind of saying Lulu's so put together. Give me 5 or 6 years and I'll be like that. It's like Tyus is like, dude, I don't have 5 or 6 years. All right, chick. So
Yeah.
so he goes over and he talks he's like Kamari, and Riku just punches him like, hey, don't change the subject. It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah. And it is one of my favorite Komari lines of all time where, she gets mad at Komari as well for trying to change the subject. And then he comes out with the best wisdom ever. It's like, Komari think Riku should just stay Riku.
Yeah, Riku should stay Riku. Okay.
Riku should stay Riku.
Yes.
She gets all upset, like, are you saying I'll never be like Lulu?
Yep, and then they
And
laugh, and that's when Waka pulls out that line I just used. How can you laugh at a time like this?
more wisdom too from Kamari when he goes, only those who try will become. It's like,
Yes.
dang, man, wisdom.
Wisdom from Kamari. They kind of huddle up. They have a little. Well, Yuna wakes up, and so then they have kind of a huddle up where Oron, dude, he's just like, look, we are doing this, okay? He's like, we are gonna continue on, and they're like, they talked about the temples. They're like, they won't even let us in, and he's like, well, the faith are who give summoners the powers, not Yevon. So we're gonna continue no matter what. Essentially saying if we gotta fight our way through all the temples, we will, and that's kind of did. Riku's like, I can't believe you just said that.
And then I like how Waka here is like, he's like, well, count me out. Fighting a Maester is one thing, and I'll never forgive Seymour for trying to kill us and things like that. But to find the temples, no way.
No way. It's like, well, go ahead and go back to your failed blitzball team then, pal. See ya.
It's
Nice
like,
knowing you.
Go back to Besaid, man.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's
bye.
it for you then.
Go live in your bubble with your head under the sand, not looking at the world
Go to
around
purgatory.
you. Yeah, see ya. Good riddance. And so this point you can walk around again now. This is where now the hymn of the faith is playing, and so Titus is like, who's that sing? And Lulu's like, what do you mean? It's the hymn of it's the faith. The faith can sing? Well, of course they can. It's like, okay, Lulu, come on, we don't know this stuff. Come on, don't give us a hard time now. Now all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know kind of what they are in terms of we know that they're like the living souls of people who sacrifice themselves, all of that kind of stuff. But we've never seen a faith. We don't know if it's actually a thing that can sing.
You know that it's alive and it can sing and stuff. So Lulu's just giving you a really hard time for no reason about that. But you can now also go get those chests. The one that was behind Kamari, that one has a level 2 key sphere, so you definitely want to get that one because you don't have very many of those yet. And then really cool note on this too, because you'll probably be around this area too on Yuna's, is that on Yuna's grid around this point you should be getting approached. There's a level 2 key sphere that locks right to steal and use. If you that's what I'm going to use on mine, because I'm obviously I only got the 3 characters, so I'm going to do that. But I was like, that's perfect timing, because it's about right there. So that'd be a good choice. There's some other ones that are like, but essentially, I think the level 2s is kind of do unlock different routes. They link routes to routes, and so you can make some decisions there. But and then the one behind Orin, so now Orin's where Riku was originally, so the one behind him has an Avenger, which is just counterattack for Titus.
Not too bad, but unfortunately, it's only just one slot, so it just has that one ability. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay. But basically, there's a really interesting part here, right? This is a pretty cool part of the story where we get some more information on the Hymn of the Faith and connections between Spira and Xanarkin, because at this point, basically, Auron notes how Jecht used to sing the Song of the Faith. And then Titus is like, well, not this good, that's for sure. And then Auron roast him with the another trait you share.
Oh, yeah, and in which it goes to the scene and he was humming. It's like, dude, okay, he wasn't singing, bud. He was humming. So I mean, it's like,
It was off
he's
tune.
like, geez, can I get a little privacy? But
Yeah, he's sitting
Titus
there
does
like,
kind of point out, he's like, well, you aren't from Xanarkin, are you? You know what I mean? So it's like, so I guess, because Orin says, like, basically it reminds him of home, the hymn of the faith. And so, Titus is like, oh yeah, are you homesick? He's like, maybe. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, you
Yeah.
are, Orin. If you're saying maybe, yeah, you're a little homesick wherever your home is. But yeah,
Yeah.
and if you talk to Kamari before this, he kind of like hints at like the air smells different. He's like, the air smells different. And if you talk to Waka, he's kind of like, I just suddenly got some really bad vibes all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and stuff. And so
Yeah.
then you
And
talk to Orin, and yeah, he goes through that whole thing. And well, oh man, there's Sin here. It goes to like a little, cinematic, and Sin's just kind of floating and doing all that stuff, and everyone's like, well, crap. Like Sin is
Yeah.
literally right above us right now. That's not good.
Yeah, basically the music, the hymn stops, right? After that little scene there, after the flashback and whatnot. And it's just like, Lulu's just like, watch out, the toxin.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and also real quick in that cinematic, dude, this was like our first pretty much like full picture of Sin in entire, right? Because for the most part, we
Yeah.
pretty much have only seen it on top of the water. Now we're seeing it all the way, and you're like, dang, that thing is massive. I mean, like, it's
Floating space whale.
yeah, I mean, seriously, yeah, essentially. And yeah, this is where Lou's like, watch out for the toxin. So what about Operation Meehan? Were we not worried about the toxin then? Like, you are so inconsistent with the stupid toxin.
And on top of that, what are you supposed to do? Like, not breathe?
Yeah, cover
Watch
your
out for
eyes and your
toxin,
nose and your
I'm
mouth.
assuming. I mean, and it's kind of funny because, you start tripping, like literally the screen starts going all blurry
Yeah.
and wavy and distorted and stuff like that. And it's like, oh God, here we go again.
Oh,
Where
the
did
guy
we
is like,
transport to?
damn, man, that was a good hit. I mean,
I want some of what she's smoking.
Yeah, so we're with Titus now. He's kind of getting this series of visions. At this point, we know that Sin is Jet. Jet kind of communicates to Titus through these like visions, basically memories, essentially. And so it shows different things, right? It shows like blitz balls. It shows like Titus, and he's saying things like that, you miss home, right? It shows like Xanarkin, and he's like, yeah, no, you miss home. It shows Blitzball, and he's like, that's not your life anymore, bud. You're Sin now. You can't
like the
be
way
a
he says
Blitzball
it.
player.
I know, seriously. The way he says that too, he's like, that's not your world anymore.
Yeah.
You're Sin now.
And
It's like,
Jet's
in
like,
case you didn't
no,
know.
duh. I mean, it's like, gosh, man, yeah, duh. But then it shows him as a little kid, and he's like, hey, I'm grown up now. Titus, he knows, dude. He like, come on, read the scenes. He's saying that he misses Blitzball. He misses Xanarkin. He misses you as a kid, like, get that. I'm older, But he
Yeah,
does
it's
say,
funny.
he's like, I know, we'll end this, I promise. Well, we know that anytime pretty much you come in contact with Sin and you black out, you're going somewhere. You're getting teleported somewhere. What does Sin do, man? Is Sin like, does he literally have the power to just like beam, boom, and you teleport? Or is he like, get on my back and he's like riding and dropping him off places? Like, how does this work?
I don't know. I've heard that he like physically transports
Yeah, I can't see
Titus
that
to these
happening.
places and things like that. I'm not sure though, honestly. That's a good question. That's one that is definitely open to
We'll
interpretation.
never know. Yeah. Well, when Titus wakes up, he wakes up in the water as usual. you know, when he's sleeping in the water, he chokes, but when you're just awake in the water, it's fine. You can breathe it indefinitely, apparently, just not when you're sleeping. So,
Yeah.
regardless, you wake up and you're just kind of like at this area is called Oasis. It's kind of like at a desert area and all that, and it's just Titus. So you go into your party and you're like, well, I don't have anyone here and stuff, and so it's just Titus, and there's a save sphere right there, and that is where we're gonna end. So we'd like to thank you all for hanging out with us, spending time to listen to this episode. We do appreciate the support. We hope that you're all just enjoying the podcast and these episodes as much as we do, just talking about it, putting it together. It's really fun, man, just like having like an intentional playthrough to talk about, like, because I've really thought about this stuff way more and in depth than I ever have, you know, and it helps me in a kind of adult, you know, and having just more experiences and knowledge and all that stuff, but it's a great time.
Oh yeah, always is. One of my favorite Final Fantasies, and there's so many different ways that you can play this game as well. I mean, even though it's kind of like, obviously, like the storyline and things are linear, but the way that you develop your characters and get items and do customizations and things like that, and also talking to different NPCs, it's always fun.
Yeah, lots of story and lots of cool stuff. You can always stop off at our website. It's Final Stop for FinalFantasyTalks.com. We just have kind of you can listen to episodes there. We have a blog. We have all of our Blitzball info stuff that we're just kind of continuing to add to over time. So make sure you check that out. Also, our Instagram, we, same thing, kind of just post media. Just try to go through the story along with our episodes. So it's a good time. It's fun posting all that stuff. All right, well, I'm Mark.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.